Hello. Good morning. I hope your day is starting off wonderful. Today, I want to talk and read a little bit about tracking your triggers. We all need help with that one. There's so many fights people get into. Crimes are committed because we are so reactive and we lack the ability to respond. You feel what I'm saying? Tracking triggers. Once your general awareness of your patterns and habits has increased, it becomes important to identify their triggers. You got to figure that out. These can include places, thoughts, emotions, smells even, people, and times of day. All can be triggers. Let's use nail biting for an example. People who bite their nails not only misperceive how frequently they do it, but also when they do it. They are often unaware of what triggers their nail biting in the moment. Some triggers for nail biting may include worry, talking to your boss, or taking an exam, for example. Monitoring when habits and patterns are likely to occur allows us to be more proactive about changing them. So, think of 2 habits you would like to break and record them. Write them on some paper. Be intentional about chucking these habits. Then list your triggers for each of the 2 habits. Choose one set of triggers and use a chart and track how often they occur over the course of a week. Be intentional in your change. What did you notice while tracking your triggers? What'd you notice? Do you notice any themes within your triggers? This is what you want to tell yourself. Ask yourself. This is how you become more intentional, more proactive. I love it. Now, always read the labels. I said it. Know that you are more aware of your triggers. You understand? You got to know this. You're like, you know what? I'm more aware of my triggers than I ever been before. Okay? So now that you're more aware of your triggers, it's important to pay attention to the types of triggers you are experiencing. Why is it important, you ask? I'll tell you. Because knowing what kind of trigger you are dealing with ahead of time gives you information on how best to respond to the trigger. Triggers for habits and other behavior patterns can be emotions, thoughts, anything involving our 5 senses, places, or people. That's a lot. Take smoking, for example. Common triggers for smoking behavior include stress, other smokers, being out at a bar or restaurant, or even the sensation of hunger may drive someone to want to smoke. So these are very important things to pay attention in our own self. So it's not a bunch of people around us making sure we are functioning. Codependency can become a big problem. So I've learned. I've been read up so much about this and researched so much. I've looked into studies on this. Codependency is a big problem. Do you notice any themes in your triggers? Do you? Do these themes show up in any other areas of your daily life? Ask yourself these questions. Can you think of any reasons why these themes exist for you? Or where they may have originated from? Because a lot of times we start coping as kids, and it's mindlessly done a lot of the time because we're kids and we don't control our environment. Our parents or guardian does. So if they're compromised, like if you're being raised by a narcissistic mother and maybe an alcoholic father or something, that kid is going to create behaviors or different ways to cope with when their parents aren't functioning well. And it's going to be mindless. And they're going to grow up still practicing that, even though it no longer serves them. And this is where a lot of injury comes from. Now, words of wisdom. Words of wisdom play a key role in how we view ourselves and our abilities. When we are experiencing heightened emotions, we don't always have the cognitive flexibility to devote to abstract gray area thinking. You know how many people have deficits where they can't utilize their cognitive abilities the way they need to, let alone if they have insurance to go to therapy? It's uncertain and requires more effort. Similar to when we fall into family patterns of behavior when stressed, the same is true of our thought processes. We tend to engage in all or none thinking, called dichotomous thinking. This type of thinking conserves our cognitive energy and allows for quick decision making under stress. However, when dichotomous thinking is used unnecessarily, it can hinder the process of behavior change and cause us to view ourselves unfavorably. For example, I always mess up everything. I'll never get a promotion no matter what I do. And we self-sabotage in that way. Sometimes our poor behavior comes directly from our family of origin because that is acceptable family behavior. So no one's fin to make noise about it. Not enough for appropriate change to take place. No one wants to take on the family black sheep. Well, not even the family black sheep. I'll say the family narcissist, the family sociopath, the family psychopath. No one wants to take them on. Can you blame them? Come on. Sometimes just changing a word can have a significant impact. For example, consider the use of the words but and in a sentence. I have to study for my exam, but it's so hard. Versus, I had to study for my exam and it's so hard. What did you notice? What was the difference in that for you? The use of the word but suggests that the difficulty of the material prevents you from studying, whereas the use of the word and suggests it is possible for both to occur simultaneously. You can study the material despite it being hard. You see how we self-sabotage? We believe what we tell ourselves. So if your language and how you speak to your own self is negative, you could be sabotaging your own goals. Another example is when we utilize words that objectify our thoughts, such as I am versus I am having the thought. I am a terrible parent versus I'm having the thought that I'm a terrible parent. What differences do you notice about these two statements? The first sentence sounds fact-based. You are a bad parent. The second sentence, however, sounds less real by labeling the statement as I thought. It provides objectivity between you and your thinking. You are separate from your thought. This is what we all must practice. We have to stop self-sabotaging accidentally and be more mindful. I'm going to be back with more tips.